Have you ever had one of those days where everything goes wrong? A day that starts with a simple plan, but ends up as a chaotic, unforgettable adventure? Well, that's exactly what happened to Lena, Ben, and their two very different dogs, Marley and Chewie. This is the story of how a tangled leash led to an unexpected connection, proving that sometimes the best things in life happen when our plans fall apart. Chewie is Marley's complete opposite. He's a squat, sturdy philosopher of naps and snacks, a furry rock of stoicism who views the world with a perpetually unimpressed, practical gaze. While Marley is panicking about squirrels, Chewie is dreaming of bacon, meticulously rating its quality in his sleep. Lena's phone rings, a jarring sound in the park's relative calm. As she fumbles to answer it, she makes a critical mistake. She drops Marley's leash. At that exact moment, a rogue balloon, a child's lost toy, floats ominously past. For Marley, this is not a balloon. This is a code red, an unidentified flying object on an attack vector. He bolts, pure panic propelling him across the grass. His chaotic zigzag path leads him directly to one spot, the patch of sun occupied by the sleeping Chewie. In a flash, their leashes twist and wrap around the leg of a park bench, forming a knot so complex it would make a sailor proud. Chewie, his eyes still closed, grumbles, annoyed that his solar recharge cycle has been so rudely interrupted. Marley, on the other hand, is in full-blown crisis mode. They're fused, inextricably bound in a worst-case scenario he had never even dared to imagine. Lena and Ben rush over to the scene of the entanglement. They pull, they tug, they try to reason with the knot, but it's no use. Ben, with his mechanic's eye, calmly diagnoses it as a proper fisherman's knot with a half-hitch dilemma. Lena, mortified, apologizes, explaining that Marley has very big feelings about balloons. Ben, with a wry look at his own immovable dog, replies that Chewie has very big feelings about not moving. They are, quite literally, at an impasse. With no other choice, the four of them, two humans and two dogs, tethered together, are forced to embark on a journey, their destination, Ben's garage, where tools to cut the leashes await. They set off, a mismatched, four-legged, two-human team, moving in awkward synchronization down the sidewalk. Marley, ever the strategist, is already critiquing their form. He insists they need a unified rhythm to avoid vertigo. Chewie's gruff response, "My gait is a statement. Adjust yours." Their journey becomes a hilarious obstacle course, testing the patience of the humans and the wildly different philosophies of the dogs. First up, the crosswalk. The light is flashing, counting down to red. Marley is frantic, calculating the statistical peril of being caught in the intersection. Chewie's advice is simple: walk, don't think. And ironically, it's Chewie's stubborn, plodding pace that gets them across the street safely, with just seconds to spare. Next, they encounter the siren song of an ice cream truck, its cheerful jingle filling the air. For Marley, this is clearly a diversion tactic, a trap. What could it want from them? Chewie, ever the pragmatist, knows exactly what it wants. $3.50 for a puppy comb. It's a fair transaction. With a steady pull, using their combined weight, the stoic bulldog calmly drags the trembling poodle past the perceived threat. Their final challenge is a massive puddle, spanning the entire sidewalk. Marley balks. He sees unplumbed depths, potential subsurface hazards. He insists they must recalculate their route. Chewie looks at the puddle, then at Marley. He takes a moment, then sits down. Firmly, he's not going around. His message is clear. Sometimes the direct path is wet. You'll dry, with a sigh of profound despair. As if accepting his fate, Marley takes a hesitant step into the water. It's just a puddle. He stares at his wet paw, a look of stunned revelation on his face. Meanwhile, this forced proximity is having an effect on the humans, too. Lena, perpetually anxious herself, finds she's fascinated by Ben's unwavering calm in the face of their ridiculous situation. She remarks on how calm he is about all this. Ben, ever the mechanic, simply says, "Fixes take the time they take. Panic's a bad tool." His quiet wisdom hangs in the air, a stark contrast to Lena's usual state of controlled chaos. She watches him, intrigued by this foreign, peaceful way of being. Finally, they arrive at Ben's garage. It's an organized sanctuary, a testament to his patient and methodical nature. As Ben gets a pair of snips and begins to work on the stubber knot, the dogs are momentarily still, and in this quiet moment, something shifts. Marley notices that Chewie, the unmovable anchor, is panting heavily. The whole time Chewie had been bearing not just his own weight, but the physical and emotional weight of Marley's constant panic. Marley, with genuine concern, asks if Chewie is compromised. Chewie, ever understated, replies, "I'm old. I'm shaped like a footstool. Everything's labor. You're fine." Marley processes this. He realizes that Chewie anchored them, especially during what he calls the puddle insurgency. He acknowledges Chewie's move wasn't just stubbornness, it was tactical. Chewie dismisses it as simple physics, but he adds something important. "But you didn't float away." So, a quiet understanding passes between them. The anxious doodle and the stoic bulldog have found a strange sort of harmony. Hesitantly, Marley leans his fluffy, damp weight against Chewie's solid side. And Chewie, who values his personal space, doesn't move away. He just grumbles, "You're damp." With a final snip, Ben cuts the leash. The two halves fall to the ground. They're free. But a funny thing happens. Marley and Chewie don't move. They stay right where they are, leaning against each other. Lena and Ben look at their dogs, then at each other, a shared smile dawning on their faces. The awkwardness of their situation has melted away, replaced by a genuine connection. Lena, pulling out her phone, suggests they should exchange numbers. For, playdates. Ben, with a small, warm smile, agrees. Chewie's schedule, he says, is mostly open. Napping is flexible. Our story ends a week later, back in the park at sunset. No leashes are in sight. Marley and Chewie are sitting side by side on a hill. A single leaf flutters down. Marley tenses, his old instincts kicking in. But then Chewie lets out a low, quiet huff. Marley looks at him, takes a breath, and visibly relaxes. He watches the leaf land safely on the ground. "It was just a leaf," he says, a hint of wonder in his voice. "Told you," Chewie replies. Marley admits he's been reevaluating his threat assessment parameters, concluding that the statistical probability of a hostile leaf is quite low. Chewie's advice is simple and profound. Good, less thinking, more being. Watch the sun do its thing. In the background, we see Lena and Ben on the same bench where Ben once sat alone. They're sharing a thermos, talking easily. Their two separate lives, now comfortably tangled. And on the hill, Marley rests his head on Chewie's broad back. The anxious doodle has found his anchor, and the stoic bulldog has found a friend. A perfect, contented silence settles over the park as the sun sets on this new, unexpected, and wonderful friendship. Thanks for watching. If you enjoyed this story, don't forget to like, share, and subscribe for more.